Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Can you hear me, Josh? Testing.
Where are you working from here?
Let me close this door and tell you you can hear.
So, you want to call us to order, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Gibson,
Here.
Burchett,
Here.
Mulberry, here. Childers, here. Crowe.
Here.
All members present.
Thank you, sir. First item then would be to approve the agenda. Is there any addendums that we need to add?
Ma'am.
So moved.
Second.
So motion by Garcia and second by Keith to approve the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Under the report section tonight, we don't have any reports. The next section then is our open comment section. We do allow people to comment online if anyone is in the chat.
Cindy Davis is joining us via technology, and she's monitoring the chat box. So I've asked Cindy to break in whenever there is a comment. Thanks.
If something comes up, we'll come back to that. Next would be the minutes and financial management section. We would need a motion approving the board minutes from the November meeting and recognizing the information on financial management we received.
So moved.
Second. So a motion by Stephen and a second by Garcia. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Our next section is the personnel section. A little shorter than usual, that's good. We need a motion saying that we received information about these actions taken by the superintendent.
Motion.
So a motion by Keith and a second by Stephen. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Under our operation items, they're numbered 1 through 8. There are no fundraiser or field trip requests. Of the remaining items, are there any that we need to discuss separately?
I will say, Madam Chair, that there's a copy of the annual board agenda with instructions at your place, and that, as well as a calendar at your place. And then there's an article there on reopening of school that is put together by KESS on public interest to the board members. So those are the extra papers there at your paperwork at your place.
One thing I did want to say, sir, we did not actually get to do our normal summer recognition for retirees. If God willing, we get to do it this year, I would like to invite last year's retirees as well, which would be in the June meetings of the year.
Yeah, making a note of that.
No further discussions. I make a motion that we approve operations 1 through 8.
So a motion by Keith and a second by Stephen to approve operation items 1 through 8. Any other discussion? All those in favor, then please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Under our discussion items, the first one is a discussion of COVID-19 quarantine policies. To this point, we actually haven't had a written policy. KSBA kind of told us to not do that because things change so much. I've talked to several board members, talked to Mr. Cox. If you make a policy, the way all these guidelines are changing, we could end up getting caught in the middle of something that could actually cause us more problem than not. If we just continue to use the CDC guidelines as they come out as our kind of roadmap, but recognizing there might be specific needs for a particular person, allowing the superintendent the leeway to take those into account. I don't know that we need a written policy. What's your all's thoughts?
That sounds smart.
I think following the CDC right now, especially with the changes and so on that's going on, like you said, I think that's going to definitely kind of get smaller in some areas there. So
I agree.
I would stay with that. Board agrees with
I agree, and every individual case is different as far as how they were exposed or what their situation is. I think you've been doing a good job, and I would say we continue to let the superintendent have the discretion in this area.
Okay, so the notes I've taken out, that the recommendation is to follow CDC guidelines as they're stated currently. Um, and then the superintendent would have discretion in regard to specific needs and circumstances on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and that we won't enact a formal board policy like we want. That's a good idea.
I think we're all in agreement then, so, we've discussed, but we are not going to take action because we feel like what we've been doing has actually worked well for us. Next is the supplemental legal services, sir.
And that was an item that was on last month's agenda in reference to Grant Shelley. We've used him from time to time throughout the years. Actually used Mr. Shelley, his father, Bob, for good number of years. Bob retired. Grant moved to a different firm. His fee was $125 per hour at the time he left. When he went to the new firm, I think A&T went to $150 an hour. I was asked to check into that to see if perhaps they would only be able to be. Grant said he would be glad to. It's just that he doesn't work for himself anymore. He works for a new company. So $150 would be my recommendation that we stay with Grant. He has helped us through a number of cases, and there's still some that are we're still involved in, and he's been involved in. So I think that we do best to stay with Grant. But we only use him. I think Marcel and I spoke about it one time, 3 or 4 times a year, maybe occasionally, and he is really, really good FMLA kind of things that they help on that. I think you've spoken to him maybe once in the past couple of months, so that would be my recommendation. That's okay.
So we just need to authorize you to enter into a contract with this firm for supplemental legal services. I would make that motion.
And I have that.
I'm second.
So a motion, excuse me, by Todd, second by Marcel, to allow the superintendent to enter into a contract with Grant Shelley for supplemental legal services as necessary. Do we need to state that we know that it's $150 an hour? I mean,
The contract states that.
yeah, that would be fine. Any other discussion? All those in favor, then please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next is discussion of the upcoming 2021-22 calendar.
This is a very similar template to what we've been doing in the past. Of course, this year's been a bit different since we had a limited number of days. But I've sent this out to all the calendar committee members. Ms. Burchett was the board representative. She sent back a couple of comments. I'll let her share hers in just a moment. But what I've gotten back from everybody else, pretty much, that this was acceptable. They liked the way it looked. Everybody very hopeful that we get to do the 170 days. That it looks like a regular calendar as of next year. I did find out from Mr. Carpenter, and I made the change on here that Nibrock is the 11th through the 14th. So we're still starting school after that. I think the original calendar that I sent to you for today had it down as being June 4th, but it's actually 11th to 14th, so it still won't conflict with anything we have here at school. Carson, I know you had a little bit of question about some of the number of days in the grading period, but we kind of hashed through that.
Yes. I think so. I was concerned about that fourth period always, how it is. It's shorter, but it's not shorter by much. So therefore.
And I think you also made a comment too, which I think was a good one, that the first grading period is always a bit longer because it takes a few days to get going. You don't really just walk in the first day and begin immediate instruction. There is some weird stuff that so that was so I think really that over the past couple of years, the counter process has been really simplified. And the board has kind of got a template here that we take to the meeting, and it's been a lot smoother.
Is your committee ready for us to vote on this?
Yes.
I think it looks great. I like it. I was curious, has it happened often or before that we have a day off, so to speak, on the last week of school? That's the only thing that looks a little odd, but I don't know any way around that. It looks like we're out on May 17th, and that's the last week of school. It's odd that on that last week we're going to be out a day here in the week.
Is there, excuse me, the designate is an election day.
It's an election day.
Yeah, are we typically, I mean, does that happen occasionally? We're out, but
You're out on election day,
Yeah,
it's
we
just
have-
not fun.
Just have,
Yeah.
we have polluted places with it, you know.
I just don't remember that happening, I guess.
It's happened in the past, but it's a cycle.
Yeah,
I think recently we've been out with it.
yeah,
That, and I think election day is usually earlier.
yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, 'cause that's
Yeah, it's a
It
late.
seems like it's about 2 weeks later than normal. It's
Yeah.
usually like the first week of May.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is odd to take a day break for a day before summer break.
yeah, and I looked at it, I don't know a good way to fix that. Not that it needs to be fixed, it just I'm sure.
So,
But I'm okay with making a motion to approve the calendar as it's been submitted this evening.
second.
So a motion by Todd and a second by Stephen to approve the calendar as presented by the calendar committee. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Brings us to the comments from the superintendent.
I have two pieces of good news.
Good news,
And
yay.
I think some folks have heard this tale, but I'll keep it short. In reference to the Career Center, Jared Mills, I believe is the gentleman's name, who contacted me for the last review. And we can just talk about some other things, and then somehow the Career Center came up, and we discussed the Career Center. He said, I would like to do an article on that. I think he has seen the article. I have not seen it as of yet, but I was off during that time, so he and I corresponded back and forth for a couple of days. And I understand he wrote a nice article that is detailing what our thoughts, the board's thoughts, are in doing the Career Center. I think it was nice in the fact that he and I got to discuss from the standpoint of how that was being paid for, the restricted funds, monies that can't be used for anything other than building, and that those are funds that we either use or lose, basically. And he also thought that he did a good job conveying the board's wishes that we're trying to connect with the segment of our population that have not had opportunities to do the construction trades in the past. And so we had a really good article there, and I thought that was a nice prelude. And the second part of this, because of the article, I got a phone call yesterday from a friend of mine whose son-in-law is the general manager of Lowe's. And he said, hey, you see what Corbin and Penn doing, they're building a career center, doing construction trades and stuff. I said, you know anybody in the school system? The guy said, I'm the superintendent. So long story short, this guy calls me yesterday, and he says that Lowe's has a track to the trades grant program. I think that's what the name of it is. I'm pretty sure that's the name, but at any rate, they provide substantial grant monies to programs that are focusing on the trades. And he said, we really want to be involved with this. He goes, this is right here in hometown. He goes, we've done this in a number of places. And he said, I think that we could really help you. My understanding is he would not share any monetary figures. He was just going to give the program to see. He said that there's actually money they can contribute towards building. They can contribute money towards equipping it. They can even help with finding tradesmen to be potential teachers, and then also pieces of equipment. And he said this is an ongoing thing. He said we're not going to walk in there and do this. He said we want to be a partner, a living, breathing partner. We're not going to walk in and hand you a check, get a photo op, and walk out. So we want to stay involved. Because I told him that potentially this board had thought about one of the things they want to do was to perhaps rotate the disciplines in this, so we don't let the market with the same type of workers. And he said that's right up our alley. He said that's what we would like to do. So we're meeting with he and I, Jim Kennedy, and Dave Jackson to meet after Christmas break and start again filling out the paperwork. But he said there's absolutely no reason I can see that we won't be able to provide some substantial help. So those two things come up this week. I thought were really good.
It's great news.
Are we going to pay for you?
I read it online, so,
He told me that it was going to see up. He told me that it was going in on the Thursday that I was out. So it would have been a week ago today. We should be in there.
because it only comes out 3 days a week now. But the online stuff, they post it as soon as they have the stuff. So I guess it was like maybe last Friday or Saturday I read it online. It's a nice article.
That's good, very good.
That's all I have.
Comments from board members?
Well, I'd just like to thank the middle school, Mrs. LaFevers, their staff, and the teachers. I got an opportunity to go and actually watch the day of class there. And I tell you, even though I know what was put in that building technology-wise, it amazes me to watch what they did. And I know, they know, there's no question, without having the student, the kid there, there's no comparison. But at this time, I was totally shocked and amazed on the way that they were able to talk to the student and present the information at the board, the jam board. I was just taken back. But saying that, I'm hoping with some new things coming down the pipe that we can get our kids back. But I don't want to lose that technology. I'm hoping that we can do some things, and with the teachers too, because they put a ton of time on this and work-wise, and so if we can get them to implement this once we get back, I'm hoping that we don't lose this technology. So I just like to thank them.
But all this virtual teaching has to strengthen their non-traditional days, from here forward. And all this other stuff is gone away. So it's a very
It's just the money and the time that's involved, and it can reach so many kids out there. Now, long term, it's tough. Rose is like my daughter. I mean, she's doing great. It's probably even made her a better student and trying to go and find information and just the way it's been. But gosh, there's days that with your discussions just kind of checks out, and it's that having a socialization that I don't think you even realize how much we need that. And those kids, I mean, it's just.
I've heard comments about, especially single, the only child in the family, that socialization is something that they really, really do miss. But again, I don't know how we can improve on that.
Yeah, I mean that's even every home life's totally different too. So that's what so hard for the teachers trying to get to, But too, I was kind of watching how they were trying to talk to some of the kids. So some of the kids have little icons compared to the actual face, and the teacher would make a comment to that kid trying to bring them in, and it's just it was amazing right there. Just kind of watch. To see how all that went. But so I was very thankful, and I really liked what I saw. But I'm just praying and hoping with the things coming down the pipe that we can get them back in there and then use this technology, to further their education.
I think your point, Marcel, that the decision of the board at our last meeting to really focus on the small groups and to make offers to every kid who wanted to come in, getting them in the building at least once a week. That's worked out for. We had a number of kids whose parents said, no, thank you. That's all. That's really good. We also had a number that were coming in more than once a week because of the open spots. And the folks have done a really good job. And I'm glad you saw what we saw. We've been, Cindy and Ashley and Tom and myself, that have been going out. Mark's always a good building, going out and seeing some of the same stuff. I agree that it will enhance their teaching when we get kids back. It is giving a little bit of a heads up towards probably the way colleges are going as far as instruction is concerned. So you have to find your silver linings where you can. And so we perhaps have found some. Again, you all made the decision a long time ago that you wanted to live stream, and that was, I'll be honest, I don't think anybody around this table, I was speaking for myself, I don't know that anybody around this table thought that it would have went off as well as it did. Even our technology director, who knows more about the technology in our district, had some concerns at first. But our technology department done a fantastic job in keeping that up, and also being able to train our teachers. I will plug in for Miss Davis and her crews, Ashley and Sarah Watkins, who were doing all the gym and the training. We had a lot of teachers who were very scared about the technology part of this. It's just not that one.
That's right.
You walk in a room and they'll flip the screen and say hello, Mr. Cox, and then it's all kids away.
Well, it did too, you know, with the way they were relating to the kids, you could do the voice or by the email. And still not the same as, you know, back and forth, but still, you know, it was something. And there's still some kids out there that struggle, and trying, like you said, the small groups, I think, but that technology just, even though I knew it was there and I'd seen it, but just actually see that work.
I'll have to credit my friend Armando Simon, because he told me the first time I was at the middle school talking to him, he said, what I think our teachers are missing is the interaction with kids, as much as kids are missing the interaction with us. And he said, and so I talked to him afterwards, and he said it just feels like when the kids came back in the building, these small groups just re-energized everybody. And people are saying, it seems a little more, closer to what we're about. So I agree. Hopefully, I look forward to the day when we can use this technology as a tool, as opposed to
Right.
an accessory, as opposed to a teaching method.
And
Hopefully that
one
was
thing I
something
thought about, we saw the red model for math and how well that worked. So if you use the red model and you always, whether it's live stream or video at that point, the original lesson, the content part, for those students who have difficulty pulling all that together the first time, they can go back and watch it 12 times.
So that's to me is what is so amazing about this. And you know, even parents who are helping with their children, you know, that gives them the insight, gives them that opportunity, so they don't feel so displaced from what their child is doing at school. So I just think, all in all, there's been a lot of good silver lining. So it's a good thing.
I appreciate you saying that, keep that, and taking the what they're doing. I know the teachers appreciate that too. They love seeing you guys as well. And I know the days that we went up there, and I've not been up there nearly as much as I should have been, I guess, but the days that we went there, we're always welcome with open arms. It's been interesting to see the reaction of the kids that are there.
I'll echo. I think the technology we've discovered through this is so valuable that perhaps when we get all this behind us, that we still do some version of what we're doing now. If the parents want to, there may be some families that are considering homeschooling or something like that, where they say, hey, this really scratches the itch that I had. You know, we can still do stuff at home. We can get into the important system and watch it virtually if we want to. And I just can't see us completely letting this go the way we've been doing. It's been working so well. If the parents want to try to do something like that.
I would agree, and I think just the implications for homebound kids, for kids who are out for extended illnesses, whatever that may be, they really don't have this. Mark has been trumpeting this process for a long time, and I think he's probably the proudest guy that is relevant as far as how this is taken off, because it's really exceeded my expectations from when we first started. And admittedly, the bar was probably not as high as it could have been, but NTI was never designed to be a long-term solution. For 2 or 3 snow days at the time, and we were good at that. When it was heaped upon us to do it on a full-time basis, I agree with Keith, that the teachers, given a little time over the summer, and have really managed to turn something good out of something bad, or make something good out of something bad.
Well, also, I think, just like you mentioned, we were talking about going off to college or maybe being on an educational trip. This is something that they can actually utilize, and it helps them do research, things like that. But otherwise, they would have that You see a lot of good.
So the only negatives I've heard have nothing to do with classroom work. They have to do with getting counted for being in the classroom. So some glitches, I think, with logging in and having that count as attendance. And I just tell them, call the teacher. You say you were sitting there with your student and they were on the computer. Call the teacher and call the principal. They can get that worked out for you. But as far as the classroom work, I have not heard anybody other than a few parents saying, "Good Lord, do they do this much work when they're in school?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but they do it in school. You don't know about it."
What I said to Casey, there, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I should have asked before, but where are we at as far as our order on the balance of our Chromebooks? I know that's been a difficult thing nationwide.
It has been. We're still waiting on quite a few shipments. The biggest thing we're waiting on right now are our staff Chromebooks. The staff really need a device that they can be mobile with and take home and everything. So that's our biggest need still. We're still waiting on our orders. It's really kind of out of everybody's hand at the moment. It's Lenovo. They have not shipped to any of their distributors right now, so we're just kind of waiting. But I will say we've put as many as we can out there. We've put every single one we had. We have about 25 spares that we rotate, and I've got a couple of guys in my office that are constantly replacing a screen or a keyboard to try and make this 25 work. So we're getting by. You know, obviously we did use ones we're waiting on, but we're just kind of waiting.
We're way ahead of a lot of systems around us.
Oh, but you know, I'm hopeful we've had our orders in since June, July, so you know, we're waiting on quite a few more staff, and that's the biggest issue that I hear right now. Our staff are calling with comments on their Chromebooks. I need something for this, or I'm, you know, they're doing some ACT prep and they need them, you know, things like that. But as far as the student one goes, we've got every student covered right now. The elementary school has the older ones. They, you know, obviously are running on some newer ones as well, but we're making them work. You know, they estimated that a group is ready to prepare Monday and get back. So it's good. It's actually went over a lot better than I would have ever anticipated, and we've not had far as many breaks, accidental damage or anything like that that I thought we would have far more this first little bit, and it's actually been pretty smooth. For now, yeah.
Any other comments? Yes,
And I see the papers out there, but my house, what do they think they'll have all this?
So I said,
Print papers. Print papers.
well, we had an odyssey of papers. Mr. Kennedy kind of took that on himself, and we got a good start. We got about 30 of the 121. Then the person that was doing it became incapacitated, and when Mr. Kennedy finally located that person, it became pretty apparent that he was not going to be able to finish them for a good while. So we'd only paid half of the fee, which had basically bought the robbery and paid for some of the stuff. $4,000 bill I did, we paid too. So Mr. Kennedy has since, he was also up in the military, so he's doing general well. He has since picked up all the blank brick, brought back what he didn't have done it, and he has found somebody in Barberville to finish. So we're probably going to lose about $500. We paid $8,500, but we already get all of them done. And as you can see, this pile is really up really well. And he anticipates having them done by the end of January, being able to put everything in the spring. And I give James a lot of credit because he was guarding chasing these folks, chasing them down with circumstances that were out of Jim's control, certainly. But yes, we are going to get them done. And then the outfit in Barberville is actually only $5 cheaper than what we were paying the gentleman in Norfolk. So they do, they're very reputable, do community colleges papers as well. So this is not their first go around with this.
Did anyone ever put anything on the chat?
We just have one clarifying question.
Okay.
In looking at the quarantine, I just want to reiterate, are we staying with the 14-day quarantine? And we are not going to do the alternatives for the 7-day or the 10? Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Okay.
So we're using whatever current CDC guidelines are. Currently, 10 days or even less with a negative test. Yeah, if we do a negative test, it would be a PCR test, because that's 99% reliable. But if CDC guidance changes yet again, we would use that as our guidance as well. But in every instance, we would allow the superintendent to have the ability to make decisions based on, let's say, a person feels like they need to stay in quarantine longer because they're still symptomatic at day 10 or at day 14. That's okay. The superintendent can make that call.
Basically, make sure I understand what you're saying, the CDC guidelines are less restrictive than what we've been doing by.
Yes.
So I have the ability to make it more restrictive if circumstances call for that. But if not, under normal generic conditions, we go with the CDC guidelines. And the test that they choose to attempt to come back in 7 days rather than 10, that test must be a PCR test, which takes place in 2 days.
That's right.
Does that make sense, Cindy?
Yes, that was the only clarifying question.
All right, thank you. I'm glad you did that, because I forgot about that.
Anything else from board members?
I would like to say, happy holidays to everybody. It's been kind of a strange year. I heard somebody say that we had 20-something days left in 2020. I think everybody's glad for this year probably coming in. But, with that being said, I hope the rest of 2020 is good. Happy holidays to everybody.
Well, and I think what Marcel said about finding the silver lining, I think our school system has done absolutely everything we could to try to find silver linings and to help our students. I know that Thanksgiving dinner that the ladies did, I don't even know how many people that did. So, everybody keep finding silver linings. They're out there. In that case, we would allow a motion for adjournment.
Motion. Second.
So motion by King and second by Steve, we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.